global news update on top accolade news. The headlines: former South Korean president faces trial. US and China slash tariffs. Qatar denies finalizing $400 million jet deal. Russia defies proposed ceasefire. We start with the focus in politics. Former South Korean president faces trial. Former South Korean President Yoon appeared in court on May 12 to face charges of insurrection following its controversial declaration of martial law in December 2024. Yoon, who was impeached and removed from office earlier this year, could face life imprisonment or even the death penalty if convicted. The charges stem from its attempt to deploy armed soldiers to parliament in an effort to subvert civilian rule. Yoon, who remains embroiled in separate corruption investigations, denied the insurrection charges during previous hearings. The trial is a critical moment for South Korea's democracy, with the upcoming June election adding further political weight to the proceedings. Shifting focus to economy, US and China slash tariffs. The United States and China have agreed to significantly cut reciprocal tariff for 90 days following high-level talks in Switzerland, the first since President Donald Trump imposed steep tariff on Chinese imports. U.S. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent announced that U.S. tariff on Chinese goods will drop from 145% to 30%, while China will reduce its tariff from 125% to 10% beginning May 14th. The deal includes continued U.S. pressure on Beijing over illegal fentanyl exports and aims to prevent further economic fallout. Moving to international relations, Qatar denies finalizing $400 million jet deal. Qatari officials have denied reports that the Gulf nation's royal family is gifted a $400 million jet to President Donald Trump for use as a temporary Air Force One, calling the claims inaccurate. While the aircraft transfer remains under review by Qatari and U.S. defense officials, the jet could be used by Trump until 2029 before being handed over to his presidential library. The deal has triggered controversy over the legality under the U.S. Constitution, with Democrats and even far-right figures slamming the arrangement as an ethical foreign influence. Moving to conflicts, Russia defies proposed ceasefire. Russia launched a major overnight drone attack on Ukraine, firing 108 drones, including 30 decoys, in defiance of a proposed 30-day ceasefire backed by European leaders. Ukrainian forces intercepted 55 of the drones, but a missile strike on a civilian freight train injured its driver. The bombardment occurred just hours before Ukrainian president agreed to meet Russian president for possible peace talks in Turkey. British Prime Minister Sir Keir Starmer want Putin to prove his commitment to peace, while US President Donald Trump called for direct talks to end what he called as a bloodbath. Ukraine's Air Force condemned the continued targeting of infrastructure, while Foreign Secretary David Lammy emphasized the broader threat to European security. You're watching the Global News Update on Top Accolade News. Do stay with us. Still to come. Thanks for staying with us. Still in conflict, Hamas to release U.S. hostage. Hamas announced it will release Aidan Alexander, the last known American hostage in Gaza, just ahead of President Donald Trump's visit to the Middle East. The 21-year-old Israeli-American soldier has been held for 583 days since Hamas's October 7th attack. Hamas says the release, facilitated through talks with U.S. officials in Qatar, is a goodwill gesture aimed at securing humanitarian aid and ending the 70-day Israeli blockade. While Israel confirmed plans for a safe corridor for Alexander's release, Prime Minister Netanyahu has not committed to a ceasefire and vowed to continue military operations until broader terms are agreed. Trump called the news monumental, while human rights groups warned that the ongoing siege has pushed Gaza into a humanitarian catastrophe. Moving on in conflict, India reopens airports as tensions ease with Pakistan. Top military commanders from India and Pakistan are set to meet to finalize the terms of a US-brokered ceasefire that took effect over the weekend, halting 4 days of intense cross-border clashes. The fragile truce follows deadly air and ground strikes by both sides, sparked by militant attack in Indian-administered Kashmir that left 26 dead. While hostilities have ceased, both nations remain on high alert, exchanging warnings against future violations. India has since reopened 32 airports closed during the peak of the conflict as each side claimed military victories and disputed losses. Moving to entertainment, federal trial opens against Diddy. Federal prosecutors will begin presenting their case against hip-hop mogul Diddy Combs, accusing him of running his music empire as a racketeering empire that exploited women over 2 decades. The 55-year-old faces 5 felony charges, including sexual abuse and assault, with potential prison time of at least 15 years if convicted. Prosecutors allege Combs coerced women into drug-fueled group sex, subjected them to violence, and recorded the encounters. One of the first expected witnesses is his ex-girlfriend Casey, who previously sued him for years of abuse. Combs, who had pleaded not guilty, remains jailed in Brooklyn and insists all encounters were consensual. The trial will last up to 8 weeks, begins with jury selection and opening statements today. Now in sports, Virat Kohli retires from Test cricket. Indian cricket legend Virat Kohli announced his retirement from Test cricket on Monday, closing the chapter on a 14-year career that transformed India's red ball game. The 36-year-old, who debuted in 2011, played 123 tests, scored 9,200 runs, including 30 centuries, and captained India to a record 40 test win between 2014 and 2022. His fearless leadership and unmatched passion for the format left a lasting legacy even as India prepares for a future without both him and Captain Rohit Sharma, who also stepped away from tests last week. That concludes our global news update for today. Stay tuned for more global news and developments. Thanks for joining us. I am Ojarumi Okocha. Connect and engage with us on all our social media handles. Do have a wonderful day.